Welcome into another edition of Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joye Lee-McNelis. Lady Eagles were back home last week. Thank goodness. It was another 2-0 homestand. Lady Eagles now 11-0 at home this year. And my goodness, coach, so good to be back as the Lady Eagles. This did not get as big of a workout back at home where everything's been comfortable this year. But what's that in your hand after this two-game homestand?
You know, I really didn't need this homestand. But it's called brain food, Josh. The theory behind it is when you work with your hands, it really helps your brain relax. That's what I've been told. So I really recently got this for this big road swing we have coming up.
So is that just for you, or does everybody have a little bit of brain food for this trip?
It's just for me right now.
Okay. Let's talk about this last homestand.
I need as much help as I can get.
Let's talk about this homestand. We'll start talking about the game against North Texas. Here's a North Texas team that has had some signature wins. We talked about in the last show that win over Oklahoma. You
Huge.
come in, and defensively it's as good as we've seen all year. You hold them to 38 points, and you win by 19.
You know, Josh, we played really well in that basketball game. We had a great balanced attack. Tajane Vega had one of her best games in a Lady Eagle uniform. You know, and again, different players really stepped up. Shayla Wilson got off to another good start again, hit some buckets for us. Carrie Jewett hit some buckets early for us. And so, again, we got off to a really pretty good start. But, again, North Texas is that team, Josh, that never gives up. And they are really, really athletic. They continue to fight and fight with us. And, in that second quarter, that game got pretty close. And, the Lady Eagles were very fortunate to be able to come out in the second half. We made some defensive changes. We made a couple of changes to the scheme that we was actually started the first half with how they were guarding us, things that we were trying to take advantage of. But I think it was one of the better nights for us in being able to defend and get buckets on the other end. We did not have as many empty possessions as we had the weekend prior to, about out of defensive stops and getting some easy buckets. But I'm going to tell you, Tajane Vega, great game. Unfortunately, Josh, in that game she got hurt, suffered a concussion, and it left us a little shorthanded for the Rice game.
The big thing that came out of that game was this Lady Eagle team to get a little bit of their swagger back, get a little bit of their confidence back, because you had to have that against Rice. We'll talk about that later in the show, and you had to have that for this stretch run of the season.
We were so deflated, Josh, after the 3-game losing streak on the road. This team was very deflated. Honestly, our coaches were struggling as well. I just really think when we came up with the theme of the war paint, of getting your stripes after every practice, it kind of made it fun again. It's just kind of fun. Did it really make a lot of sense? Probably not to a lot of people. But again, mentally, it just kind of made everybody laugh and have fun with it. And I think that's what we did, Josh, on Thursday night, is that we had fun again. And it was so important that we have that to really regain some of our personal confidence. And again, different players stepped up. Again, we had a balanced attack. Turned the ball over a little too much for us. But again, it was a heck of a ball game, and it was a game against a very athletic North Texas team that had slashers, had big girls inside, and 3-ball shooters.
And it seems like that you were able to, in a real unique way, tap into that little girl and all the players, that you couldn't keep them off the floor when they were young. They just wanted to have a ball in their hands at every moment of every day. You get to this level, there's so many different more demands of life.
Sure.
It takes away the fun. And when you start having fun, winning's fun. Obviously, we've won almost 70 games in the last 2+ seasons. Retapping into that's huge for them.
It is, Josh, and you're so right. How you handle adversity is very difficult for any of us. But when you're dealing with a 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old, sometimes they don't know how to get out of it. And that's what we as coaches have to do. We have to be creative and try to find ways rather than just coach them. You've got to find ways to help them reminisce on some fun and help them understand that it is fun. It's not easy, but it can be fun, because winning is fun. Being successful is fun. And that's what you have to do every single day in practice. The mindset has to change every single day in practice. And I will tell you, going up to the weekend, We had great practices, and, you know, I'm just a firm believer. It's how you prepare. It's not how you play the game. It's how you prepare, because if you prepare properly, you're going to have a lot of success.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll continue with more of the show. Lady Eagles picked up that 57-38 win over North Texas, and we'll talk about the Rice Owls and more coming up later in the show. You're watching Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joye Lee-McNelis. Welcome back to Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joye Lee-McNelis as the Lady Eagles, as we mentioned at the top, now 11-0 at home, right back into the thick of it in Conference USA. The Rice Owls came to town. This is a Rice team. We knew they were good. We told fans how good they were. We got a big punch early, but this time the Lady Eagles had a counter punch. 4 players in double figures, never flinched in that ball game, 68-62 winners, and it was, again, another step. This team now able to put some blocks on top of each other as they're building a foundation.
You know, Shayla Wilson got off to another great start. She's had 4 games, Josh, where she's really been a surge for us to start the basketball game and has some confidence. And she hit some really big shots, really moving off of our guards on penetration, and played very well. That got us going. Carrie Jewett hits a big shot early. And then, woo, baby, Jayla King from downtown, she stepped up, hit some big 3 balls in that game, and really got the Lady Eagles surging. But as we all knew, the Rice Owls are very talented. Their perimeter game is extremely experienced. They have good wine inside that's a very experienced post player that I consider is a money player for them. Game's on the line, good wine's going to step up and make plays, going to make it happen. And so I think, Josh, that we had really done a very good job of letting our players understand, or helping them understand, that it's not over to the horn sounds, that the Rice Owls are going to make a run, and they did that, you know, in that second half. And, you know, when you reflect back, and we have 4 players in double figures, and we're very successful when they come throwing their press at us. We're able to handle it with some composure. And looking at, Josh, that we were very shorthanded because Tajane Vega was out after suffering a concussion, and we were moving LaShira Cotton from our 4 position to playing on the perimeter in about a short period of time of practice, should I say, at about an hour and a half on the floor, of where she had to make that adjustment of being on the perimeter. And so when you throw all of that in, and Carrie Jewett playing 39 minutes because there's not a backup point guard, you know, I think you have to look and say, well done. This group really grew up in that game, really overcame adversity, and we really had some success. And, you know, Josh, we asked them after that game, we said, you know, how did you handle this? What happened when the Rice Owls came charging back? How did you handle it? What was said on the free throw line? What was said in your huddles on the floor? And because I think that's teachable moments. You know, in life, you have teachable moments. They're not every day, but you have teachable moments. And I think that was a perfect teachable moment for us to help our team realize what they did. Because, Josh, that's what happens to us on the road, and we can't get out of the pit. You know, it just kind of rolls on and on and on and on. And it really causes us to get discouraged and lose confidence. So again, I think that it was a great opportunity for us to learn some valuable lessons right here at Reed Green. And, you know, I must say that our coaching staff and I are very, very proud of how we played that Rice Owl team, because I'm telling you, Josh, they're good.
A couple follow-up questions to what you said. How could we forget Brittany Norris? Back-to-back-to-back
Three threes, that's right.
3 threes in a row. And she's one of those players that's been putting in that extra time, getting up extra shots. She beat everybody to the gym prior to the game, and those are the things that show the maturity growing.
You know, Josh, talking about Brittany Norris, you know, she got in foul trouble in that first half and had to sit. And, you know, then she came in the second half, and the opportunity, I can remember the very first shot she took in that second half was on the left side of the floor in front of our bench. And it was like I was kind of going with the ball to try to urge it to go in for her because, you know, when you have an individual that really works hard and really puts in time, you know, as a coach, you want them to be successful. You want it to happen for them. And so she did. She hit 3 threes that were back to back to back, and then she hit a floater. And again, you could see her confidence soar, and you could see our team. They were just so excited for her, and all of us were, because we know what Brittany Norris is made out of, and we know that she really was on a mission to really live all the work that she's put in, and she did that in that second half. And man, I mean, it was Jayla King in the first half shooting 3 balls. That was kind of the unknown player that had struggled. You know, then it was Brittany Norris in the second half, and then you throw the way Shayla Wilson got off to such a great start. You throw in Kerry Jewett getting in a great start, and Brittany Dinkins, 9 assists and 2 turnovers. What a performance by her of really getting the ball in the hands of the right people. And then once again, Caitlin Jenkins steps up, has a double-double.
I literally almost came over the scores table when KK got that block when we needed that critical moment, and then you touched on it. Season high in assists for Brittany Dinkins, career high of points for the second consecutive game for Shayla Wilson. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll continue with more of the show. We'll look ahead to the big road trip, UAB, Middle Tennessee. Huge swing for the Southern Miss Lady Eagles.
You need some brain food, Josh?
I think I'm okay at the moment, but I might.
Okay.
What do you think?
Well, I'm not sure. I know I need it.
I've got the stress ball, so I think I'm going to be
so
okay. But we'll take a break. We'll be right back right after this here on Southern Miss Sports Today.
Thank you so much for this prestigious award. I would like to thank my friends and family.
Hey, it's time for your homework.
Coming, Mama. As I'm saying, I would also like to thank my educators for all they've done with me. Without them, I couldn't do anything.
And the winner of the first place award for small cities is Hattiesburg, Mississippi for the Education Initiative.
What are you doing back there, Haley?
Feeling like a winner.
You have a purpose. And today, you have an opportunity to stay undefeated at home. But if you go out there and you just show up, you can't show off. If you go out there without a plan in your mind, you'll be disappointed. Don't be that young girl at the age that you are now, and know that opportunity may never come again. We have an example right now with one of our own teammates in Tosh. It was bad as it is, but it could have been worse. She could never play the game again in the final closing seconds of a game. She really could. But hopefully she's going to be spared. Make sure that everything you do today and every day is with a purpose. And understand God's given you the ability, and it's up to you to use it. It's no one else's responsibility to make you use it. You don't beg somebody to be an All-American. You don't beg somebody to be an All-Conference player. You don't. If you beg those people, they never reach their potential, ever. Ever. And I've been around a long time, and I've watched many people I've tried to beg somewhere, and they end up just being the average Joe, because the enemy called average has taken them by control. Don't let that happen today. Let's go and attack.
As we continue with Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joye Lee-McNelis, you just had a chance to hear Coach mic'd up coming out of the break. But as you can see, we're not joined by Coach McNelis. We're joined by Shayla Wilson, the very talented junior out of Tampa, Florida, the transfer out of St. Petersburg College, joining us. And Shayla, thank you so much for giving us of your time. I knew this moment would come. I'm glad we get a chance to feature you on a week where you're coming off back-to-back career highs. And we joked about this off the air a couple of weeks ago, that breakout performances for you were on the way. What has given you that bump in confidence to take the next step in your game here at Southern Miss?
Really just, I've been getting extra shots up and just coming in the gym like during nights when we're off, or even after practice, and just working on my moves and shots.
And we've seen that in the last couple of ball games. Not only have you had career highs, but we've seen career highs happen for you very early in ball games. And in fact, you being more of the veteran, being a junior, getting some starts in the last couple of ball games, allowing KK to stay on the bench, watch the game early, kind of get a feel for it, stay out of foul trouble. I think that both of you have benefited from that rotation. What's your thoughts?
I would agree. I think that I play better when I start, and just, I guess, because my legs are warm, and it's just, you get into the flow. I get into the floor better when I start.
And what about some of the different things that you've overcome personally? Talk about some of the adversities you've overcome. It's been a slow start. You averaged right at 15, 17 points a game last year, and we could see that down the stretch of this season at the rate you're taking off now. So what were the one or two things you had to overcome to get you to where you are now, finally starting to make some real tangible progress?
I think it's really just mental. When you miss the first two shots, you just gotta still keep your confidence and just keep shooting.
And for you, talking about confidence, it's obviously has been good for your psyche. And what about mom and dad? They've probably been a couple phone calls. They've been watching these games. They've been excited to see you get over the hump, haven't they?
Yeah, they are.
Now talk about your teammates. Talk about this team, a group that is so good at home, and now the challenge is to take it on the road. What do you think has been the thing that you look to overcome that's been holding this team back away from Hattiesburg?
I would say we just got to play harder. Like when they hit us, or something happens in the game, or we don't get a call since it's a away game, or the refs aren't calling things we want them to. We just got to stay focused and keep playing hard.
Now, what you don't know about Shayla is that Shayla's actually a three-ball shooter. You have that in your repertoire. We saw the step back. We saw the short corner shot. When you're in the zone, when you're really feeling it, when you truly let loose and are totally comfortable, what's it going to look like? When I see this shot go in, what's that going to be when I know, oh my gosh, Shayla's in the zone? What's it going to be?
Well, when I make the first one, I'm just going to shoot another one. Hopefully I hit 2 or 3 of that game. I think that would boost my confidence. I think that would really get me going.
Once that first three ball goes down, that's going to really, when the floodgates are going to open, so to speak?
Yeah.
And it's been there in practice, hasn't it? It's just not translated yet into the ball games, has it?
Correct.
Well, we saw, again, flashes of it, 9 points in the last ball game. In closing, how big was that win for this team over Rice to be able to really go back and forth with the team and come out on top?
I think it was great because this is probably one of the first games that we've been down at half and we come back out and win. I can't recall when we really been down and we still win. So I think that was big, and that was a great mental challenge for us.
Well, this is another big challenge. You can check off your first television interview here. More interviews to come if you go out and have career highs each and every game. So you cool with that?
Yes, sir.
All right, Shayla Wilson joining us here on Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joye Lee-McNelis. We'll take a break, come back, continue with more of the show right after this here on the Southern Miss IMG Sports Network.
Southern Miss fans, show your pride with real Golden Eagles gear from the official online store, shop.southernmiss.com. You'll find everything a Golden Eagles fan needs, from jerseys to sideline gear, polos, t-shirts, hats, and more. With an awesome selection of Golden Eagles products, including official team merchandise from Russell, when it comes to Golden Eagles pride, there's only one place real Southern Miss fans go, shop.southernmiss.com.
As we wrap this edition of Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joye Lee-McNelis, Lady Eagles are looking to take the confidence that they gained here at Reed Green Coliseum. Now 11-0 at Reed Green, but we're not going to be here this week. It's on the road to Birmingham, Bartow Arena. Chance for the Lady Eagles to get a game in February, just weeks before the conference tournament. And then at Middle Tennessee, a place where the Lady Eagles have had a lot of success. So a big road swing against two teams on an uptick, but so are the Lady Eagles. It's going to be a fun week.
Josh, what we hope is that we take what we learned from such a great performance against North Texas and Rice, the challenges that we faced in Rice with low numbers on our bench, of foul trouble, of opportunities where Rice made the big runs and made big shots against us, for us to stop that run, dig our heels in and say, oh, no more. it's going to be great to go on the road because we're all excited to see how we're going to take what we learned from those 2 ball games to go on the road to play UAB. And, you know, Josh, UAB is very good. Chelsea Black's been a 4-year starter for them. She is truly the heart and soul of their team. Their offense runs through Chelsea Black. They have a post player in Winsborn. Whew, she can play. She is strong. She's going to give Shayla Wilson and Caitlin Jenkins something to reckon with inside. She's strong. She's physical. She can really score the basketball. And then you've got a new player that they have. Coos is what I'm going to call her, because I tell you what, when she shoots it, it swishes those nets and cools everybody down. So the Lady Eagles have our hands full, as truly those 3 players are the major force on their team in their starters. But they have a strong bench, Josh. We've got to be ready for the Blazers.
And then in closing, you look at this Middle Tennessee team, and they've had to adjust with life after their leading scorer, one of their leading scorers, Olivia Jones, preseason player of the year in the league. Her absence, and Middle Tennessee still finds a way.
You know, the thing that I'm going to say about Middle Tennessee is Rick Ensel does a great job. They are truly a team that plays within their individual games, and putting it together helps them be successful. You never see one of their players doing something they're not capable of doing. They're not going to turn the ball over. They're very similar to Rice. You know, they're not going to beat themselves. You know, the opponent has to beat them. And they're very good. Ty Petty is their point guard that has been a starter during her career there and is really, really, really solid. And I will tell you, Bria Edwards was just a player that was a solid role player for them last year. And now I think she's one of the leading candidates for Conference USA Player of the Year in postseason. She really can shoot the basketball and takes advantage of every opportunity that she gets. And then you have Sissom that sometimes starts or comes off the bench that can really shoot the basketball. They've got a freshman inside, Alex Johnson, a steady Eddie post player that really is one that I think has a chance to be on that all-freshman team and will battle our own Caitlin Jenkins for Freshman of the Year in Conference USA. So it's 2 great matchups. The Lady Eagles have just got to take the confidence that we built versus Rice and North Texas and keep it within our bodies and really help us soar as we go against UAB and Middle Tennessee.
Last question, just real short. What's it going to take to launch another fantastic February?
You know, Josh, it's critical. You know, we've had some fantastic Februaries the last 2 years. It's been a lot of fun. I remember 2 years ago, it's kind of like we were really struggling. And we hit fantastic February, and the Lady Eagles really soared, and we've had a lot of success in February. So I'm hoping with the war paint, earning our stripes, gets us started as we go on the road and become pirates to try to steal some ships.
Hey, I'm all for it. Coach, any analogy we need to get some W's, we'll take it. For Coach McNelis, for Shayla Wilson, I'm Josh West. For Craig Adams, you've been watching Southern Miss Sports Today with head coach Joye Lee-McNelis.